Shalom everyone, and Shavua Tov. We're in Parashat Emor in Israel, and this is in Leviticus chapter 21, verse 1, and it starts, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Emor el HaKohanim bnei Aaron v'amarta aleim. So, the Creator speaks to Moses, and he says, talk to the Kohanim, the children of Aaron, and there's a whole set of ruling over here about the rules of Kohanim, the Kohen, the priest in the temple, and that's basically most of the parasha. There's a bit, also the end of the parasha is about the holidays. Okay, it's very similar. That's why it's called the book of Leviticus, because it's about all the stuff of the work of the tabernacle. So, if you're not a Kohen and you don't have a job in the temple, so what's in it for you? So why do we need to read that story unless we really believe, or have faith, or whatever you call it, that, or we have the knowledge that the Torah is eternal, and therefore there is a message for us. So what is the message? So the message is like this. First of all, the Zohar says, because if we want to know all the rulings of the Kohanim, we know that if you're Jewish, you know that the Kohen cannot go to the cemetery unless it's his real close relatives. Otherwise, he cannot go to the cemetery unless it's a funeral of his mother, his father, his sister, his wife. Otherwise, he cannot just go to the cemetery. Okay? But, except from that, reading the whole parasha, just for this kind of piece of knowledge, it's kind of exaggerated. So still, what's the message? And let's say, what if you're not a Kohen? So it's not for you. So here there's the message, and the message is very, very powerful and very important. It's about the regular message, which is, what's the secret of happiness? What makes people happy, and how come in our generation, our day and age, especially nowadays, it's so hard to find real happy people? Very hard. Not just this, it's so easy to find real miserable people that are medicated so they don't have to kill themselves, right? So this is a plague. It's a plague. And this is what this parasha is about. How do we connect to the real source of happiness? Now, and the Zohar says, I'll read from the Zohar because the Zohar will give us the key. And it says as follows. It starts with the first verse. Usually the Zohar starts with the first verse of the parasha. And אמר רבי יוסי, מה טעם דע לקובל דע? דכתיב לעילה ואיש או אישה כי יהיה בהם אוב או אדיוני, מות יומתו. וסמיך לי אמור אל הכהנים. The Zohar is saying in the previous verses, in the previous parasha, Parashat Kedoshim, it says, and if you have anyone dealing with witchcraft, they are death sentenced. Okay, which is kind of harsh. We know a lot of people that they play with witchcraft. Today it's also a lot of people are so bored, they do anything just to get out of the boredom. And if they go to a witch or something like this, or they want to go to watch a movie about witchcraft, which is very popular lately, right? Since Harry Potter became even before. So what's wrong with that? Okay, but the verse before that, we're reading it in chapter 20 in Leviticus, in Vayikra. V'yitem li kedoshim, that's how Parashat Kedoshim ends. Ki kadosh ani Hashem, and you will be holy, because I'm holy. It's a very amazing statement. What do I mean? You will be holy because I'm holy. Okay? And there's a whole discussion about it, because the beginning of Parashat Kedoshim, which is the previous parasha, or this is the parasha that is being read outside Israel, this Shabbat, it says the parasha starts with the words Kedoshim, that's in chapter 19, verse 2, and it says, ואמרת עליהם, and you tell them, קדושים תהיו כי קדוש אני. It's a beginning, it's a statement. Again, you will be holy because I'm holy. Like, on what base? On what account? It's like somebody tells you, you are going to be a doctor. Okay, that's something nice you can, your grandma can tell you, when you grow up, you'll be a doctor. Here it says, when you grow up, you'll be holy. Which means, is being holy a profession? For some people, that's a profession. People make a lot of money from being holy. People come to them, give me a blessing, give me a note, answer my question, whatever, solve my problems. So people, it's a job. Not just in Israel. In Israel, it's a really profiting job. You make a lot of money for being holy. But other places around the world, people are looking for something. As I said, they're looking for holy witchcraft and for unholy witchcraft, all kinds of stuff. Okay, but it doesn't speak about certain people as a job. He tells us as, not as individuals, but as a collective. You will be holy. And it's not an order, because Hebrew grammar says, if it was an order, like a precept, it should be Heyu Kedoshim. Kedoshim Heyu. It says Kedoshim Tiyu, it is about future tense. You will be, as a promise, not as a order. Okay? And so the Zohar is asking why we finish with that and we go, because there's no coincidences in the Torah. Okay? Everything is connected to everything. So if the last verses talk about, again, reminding us how the parasha started, so here it is, there must be a connection with being with a Kohen. What does it mean being a Kohen? So here the Zohar explained to us. And he says as follows, since כיוון שהזהיר את ישראל שיקדשו עצמם בכל. Since basically the whole parasha of Kedoshim is about, giving you the, if you're going to be holy, this is what you should do. That's how you should behave. And by the way, we also explained it last week, that Parashat Kedoshim, the Zohar says, when the friends, like the team that wrote the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon was the head of the team, but it was a team. It was not one individual who did it. By the way, Rabbi Shimon didn't write anything. He had somebody who wrote, because Rabbi Azakloria says not everybody can write. Some people have amazing ideas, but the moment they write it down, nobody can understand. It becomes so messed up. And some people, they have the ability, when they write, it's so clear. So you need a special kind of a soul to write. So that was Rabbi Abba, one of the students of Rabbi Shimon. He wrote. And he wrote the protocols. He was the only one who was allowed to write. Okay, but if you read the Zohar, like the Talmud, it's a protocol of many, many rabbis' teachings. The most important of them were the 10 that the Zohar was revealed to in the beginning, but there were others. Okay, and they're also arguing. Like in the Talmud, but they argue differently. The Talmud argue who's right. In the Zohar, one says something like this, and he says, and the other one says, beautiful, but there's another explanation. And there's no argument. It's like, I complete you, you complete me, everything. That the Zohar is a little bit different. Also, the Talmud says, Tashma, come and listen, and the Zohar says, Tachazi, come and see, which is like walking on a different frame of experience. And seeing is believing, okay? And listening is very powerful, but seeing is much more powerful. Okay, so what's in the Zohar as you see it? And he says as follows, since he gave us all of these orders, and that's why the Zohar says when the friends were coming to study Parashat Kedoshim, they were very happy. Why being happy about it? Every parasha you should be happy. Why especially about it? And they say, the Zohar says, because Parashat Kedoshim includes all what is on the 2 tablets, that's one thing. Another one, we know, we have few versions about, how do you know what the whole Torah is about? So there's a version by Hillel the Elder, and there's a version by Rabbi Akiva, saying the whole Torah, one rule that is all-inclusive is love others as you love yourself. And that's in Parashat Kedoshim, chapter 18, verse 19. So we just read it yesterday in Israel. So so why they're so happy? There's something about it that, you know, when you're giving a promise, because, you know, being holy is not that easy. You know, it's very easy to be messy, you know, because mess, everybody knows that mess you get for free. But in order for everything to be organized and set and accurate, that takes a lot of effort. In business, at home, cooking, being a parent, being a spouse, being whatever you are, being messy, that's for free, right? You don't have to bother too much. It comes for free by itself, and you know, it brings you can get 2 for 1, 10 for 1, whatever, and then you pay for that later on, okay, for the rest of your life. So what's so powerful about the loving? Because you cannot be loving and being messy. Because when you're messy, you don't stop hurting others and hurting yourself. Being real, when you really care for somebody, you have to be really punctual. You have to be accurate. You have to be precise. Sensitivity, it's a lot of training. Like love. A couple are in love. Okay? I'm not talking about they fall in love. Because when you fall, it's very hard to get up. Okay? I'm talking about the ones that they got married, they know it's a serious business, they worked on it very much, they know they're different, they know it takes time to get used to each other, they know till you really create a team spirit, it takes you a lifetime. And then, you know, like a couple that learns how to dance together, you know, it takes a while till they don't step on each other's feet, and they just get the same pace, and you feel it's like, that's a real good team. That's a lot of hard work, right? It's harder to be a couple, right? It's everyday's life. But sometimes you see this couple that everything is like, they work like a team, don't step on each other's feet. They you see, but you know, the same thing like in dancing, it takes them months and years of exercising to get to that level that you feel this is a real trained couple. So life, it's much harder. When you see a couple that they work like one team. Why it's one team? Because one is a code. One is the same word as love. How come? You know, Kabbalah speaks about numbers. We should talk about numbers sometimes. So whoever knows some Kabbalah knows one of the first gematria you learn is that the word ahava, love, is 4 letters. Aleph is 1. Hey is 5, we have 2 of them, so it's 10. And Bet is 2, together we get 13. Why 13? A lot of people don't like the number 13. Because Kabbalists explain that 12 means the box. It's a box. You know, being in the box. Loving somebody else, you have to get out of your box. That's number 13. Getting out of the box, you're afraid you're going to lose yourself. That's why a lot of people are really afraid of number 13. Because that's getting from the logical to the illogical. From the conceivable to inconceivable. The logical to illogical. Love has nothing to do with logic. You know, you see a couple in love. You ask them, can you explain that? They look at you like, you know, can I explain love? You see somebody very happy. Can you explain to me, please, logically? Can you give me an equation? You know, like E equal MC squared. Can you give me an equation? How do they look at you? How do they look at you? Like you're nuts. Because the moment you go to the real stuff, like love, happiness, real sense of success, this is out of the box, right? And that goes, but how do you get there? Oh, love is the same number as echad. Aleph is 1, Chet is 8, Dalet is 4, together is 13. Which means when you're one with somebody else, that's love. Very simple. But you know, in order to be one with somebody else, you have to get out of your box. And we know how tough it is to get outside of our box. That's almost impossible. Almost impossible. Because, you know, people are so much afraid to lose who I am. And the Zohar, by the way, explain it and I'll explain it again. The Zohar says when you love somebody else, you become 4, like the word love in Hebrew, ahava. 1 is you, 2 is the other person, okay? 2 is you the new you that you became together with that other person. 3 is the new other person that became knowing you. So it's 4 entities. And that's the word love. There are 4 entities right now, which means it's you, the other person, the new you that became. You didn't lose the old you, but there's a new you that was created, and a new other person. So it's 4 of you right now. And you have to understand that that's these 4, that's a new creation that is created by love. It's called, the Zohar calls it zivug den shikin. It's a unity of kisses. But because there's something that is being generated, but if it's 2 people, they get together, they just live side by side. Happens to be, so it's me living next to them, next to him or next to her, whatever. So it's like, okay, so what do you have to do? Okay, in case it doesn't work, each one continues with his own direction, right? No, that's not love. Love is creating 2 new entities and maintaining these 4 all at once. While I'm not using my old me, but I'm creating a new me, and together we create a new you, and we maintain the old you. Okay? Complex? Who said that, love is not an easy thing? No free lunches. Okay, so let's see again what the Zohar is saying. And he said, כיוון שהזהיר את ישראל שיקדשו עצמם בכל, because he gave the directions to the Israelites how to become holy, he also said, okay, with the Israelites, let's also give the rulings for the Kohanim and the Levim, the Kohens and the Levites. כי כתוב אמור אל הכהנים, ומאין לנו ללווים, כי כתוב אל הלווים תדבר ואמרת עליהם. כדי שימצאו כולם צדיקים, קדושים וטהורים. So everybody will be righteous, holy, and pure. Why should I? Okay, what if I don't want to be religious? I don't care about organized religion. Okay, let's see. So the Zohar continues. I'll answer it later, because the Zohar prepares the issue. And he says as follows. Emor el HaKohanim bnei Aaron. And it says, tell to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron. Okay? And the Zohar is asking, why does it say the sons of Aaron? Because first of all, we know there's not even one little iota in the whole Torah that is not for any purpose. Here you have 2 words that it looks like they don't belong. Why don't we know that all the Kohanim are from Aaron? All the Kohanim are descendants of Aaron. Why you have to add Bnei Aaron, the sons of Aaron? ומשיב על בני אהרון מלמדנו ולא בני לוי. The sons of Aaron and not the sons of Levi. כי אהרון הוא ההתחלה לכל כהני העולם, because Aaron is the beginning of all the Kohanim in the world. But we know that. Why do we have to learn it now? כי בו, but here comes the message. And this message is very important because it continues. You have to know, when you study the parashat, sometimes you have one concept that repeats itself over a few parashot. And now this concept is repeating itself because we are now, Parashat Emor is in the same time, always in the middle of the counting of the Omer. And the counting of the Omer is a time for purity and holiness. It's a time we build ourselves anew. It's a time for cleansing. That's why, I don't know if you know, but a lot of people do cleansing diets, detox during this period of the year, because it's for the body and for the soul the best time of the year. Okay? The problem is, if anybody did detox, it doesn't feel great, right? Whoever did detox, it could be really horrible. Why? The moment you stop poisoning yourself, give you an example. Somebody smoked 3 packets of cigarettes every day for 20 years. Then the kids were crying, Dad, we don't want you to die from cancer, please. Please do us a favor, stop smoking. And he decides to be a righteous person and to stop smoking. Except from it's thinking, and it's also a very selfish habit. Okay? So, and also it's addicting. And any addiction is wrong for you, no matter what. Okay, because, you know, is it nice to say that a little piece of something controls your life? That's against the rules of life of Kabbalah. You cannot have something else control your well-being. Okay, including everything. So now, so this guy, after 3 packets of cigarettes every day for 20 years, he stops smoking. You know what? The next morning, he wakes up like a tiger, right? He has oxygen. Yes? No. He is so sick. Sometimes he cannot get out of bed. Why? The moment you stop feeding your body with poison, your body starts to, okay, let's get the garbage out. And you get sick, you're coughing. It's terrible. Whoever went through detox, that's not so easy. Okay? So now the days of the Omer are not so easy. A lot of stuff comes to the surface, and you have to deal with it, and you have to do cleansing, and you have to be more patient, and you can stand it, and you know, when you're going to detox, it's a headaches and all kinds of rushes. Whoever went through that, that's very uncomfortable, very messy. You really have to have a lot of faith. A lot of people break down while detoxing and they go back, because you need to have a lot of faith to hold on and to stay and to really believe the promise of faith that in the end, within a few days, few weeks, it's going to be much better than now. And a person says, like, I did something good, why do I have to suffer? Okay, this is the period of the year. If you feel like you're going to detox, you're doing the right thing. If you're not feeling like you're going to the detox, you're probably not detoxing, you're not doing the right thing, because this is the time. And this is the time stuff comes to the surface. You become kind of nervous, you know, you're less patient to other people, you're less tolerant to other people, because when you're going through detox, stuff comes up to the surface. All kinds of arguments and alienation that you had with other people, you think you forgot it, and then it comes back. Like, where is this coming from? I thought we're over with that. This argument, all of this stuff, it's coming up. Why? Because we are cleansing. This is a time, and it's not that you have to go on with it. Detoxing means that you have to see it coming. So, oh, we're cleaning. Thank God, it's okay. That's a way to detox, okay? Spiritually. Now, so, one of the ways to talk about it, and that's what the Zohar is saying, and we spoke about in Parashat Tazria. In Parashat Tazria, there was a question the Zohar was dealing with. It says, Isha ki Tazria ve'yalda zachar. Okay? And then it says, all commentators are saying that the woman has to go through something, and that guarantees she has a boy. You know, I know so many men, they will give anything in the world to know what's the thing to do in order to get a boy, right? You know this kind of. Okay? So, but then the Zohar is asking in Parashat Tazria, okay? So if the woman has to do something in order to get a boy, so who determines if it's a boy or a girl? Isn't that the Creator decides? And the Zohar says, the Creator knows to tell the difference between a boy and a girl. So when it's a boy, he gives the soul of a boy. When it's a girl, he gives the soul of a girl. Which means, what is the Zohar saying? So who determines if it's a boy or a girl? Today we know if it's X and a Y, right? If it's an X, it's a girl. If it's a Y, if it's a boy. But what determines that? Then the Zohar says that's the consciousness of the parents during their relations. Okay, so who determines? The Zohar says, we create the event. The Creator gives the soul that fits what we created. Okay? Now, see how it is exactly the same over here, because he says as follows. Aaron is the beginning of all the Kohanim in the world. Because the Creator chose him from everyone to be the Kohen. In order to bring peace to the world. So, it says that God chose Aaron to be the high priest. and to be the father of all the Kohanim in the world till today. And we know every time we talk about it, we say like, that was 34 centuries ago. That's a legend. That's what there are people say, whatever it's written in the Torah, there must be a legend. They have this religion. Whatever it says in the Torah, it shouldn't be right. Why? Because it says in the Torah. Okay? However, somebody, today we have genetics, and somebody checks it out. If Aaron was the father of all the Kohanim, then according to modern genetics, all the Kohanim in the world should have the same Y chromosome. That's easy to check today. You just take a little sample of saliva, you check the Y chromosome. And they found out that 80% of the Kohanim today, Jews who are called Kohen, from congregations around the planet, 80% of them have the identical Y chromosome. Which means we know how the Y chromosome of Aaron the high priest looked like. Weird, huh? We know also how Moses' Y chromosome looked like. Why? They're brothers. And brothers have the same Y chromosome because they got it from their father. Okay? Okay, so now you can say that it's a legend. 80% after 34 centuries, that's a lot. Right? Keeping the lineage. Now, still we have to ask the question, why did God choose Aaron to be the high priest? Is it kind of a family issue? It's a family business. Moses was the king. Aaron was the priest. Miriam ran the women's section. Okay, that's a family business. That family business was successful. Not all of them are, but this one was. It's still working till today, somehow. Okay, and the Zohar says, and then continues the Zohar. ומשום שדרכיו של אהרון העלו אותו לזה, okay? And that was why God chose Aaron, because the ways of Aaron brought him to that place. Just a second. Did God choose Aaron? Or did Aaron force God to choose him? Because it says over there, because the ways of Aaron brought him to that place. And he explains, כי כל ימיו של אהרון היה משתדל להרבות שלום בעולם. Because all his days, Aaron was making a lot of effort to bring peace to the world. He was going around, his job was, today they call it a mediator. If he heard about somebody that has a problem with somebody else, he will come, talk to this one, talk to that one. Finally, we bring everybody love each other. And because, it says, because he was the person who was doing that all his day, all the day and all his days, he didn't leave the Creator any option, but when there was a need for Kohen, the only person that everybody knew he has to be the Kohen, that can love everybody, can bless everybody, it's only Aaron. So who chose? Did God choose Aaron, or did Aaron force God to choose him? Okay? Question. So, משום שדרכיו כך, and the Zohar makes it even more clear, because his ways are like this, העלהו הקדוש ברוך הוא לזה, God promoted him to that level, לכהונה, to the priesthood, שיכניס שלום בפמליה של מעלה. Because he had the ability to bring peace in the world below, in the physical world, God wanted him to also bring peace to the world above. Why? Because one of them, we spoke about it last week, when the Kohen brought the Ktoret, the incense had the ability to, the word Ktoret comes from the word Katur in Aramaic is Kashur, connected. In the Ktoret there were 11 spices, 10 for the 10 sfirot, and 1 to eliminate the dark forces. So, you eliminate dark forces and you connect all 10 sfirot together, what do you create? Bliss. So if there's any negative thing, by bringing the Ktoret, you can remove all negativity. So 10 sefirot means where? In the upper world. So the Kohen was responsible for bringing bliss and unity in the upper world and in the lower world, both. How did he get to that place? Again, because he brought peace and unity in the lower world, the Creator promoted Aaron, if you're doing it so nice in your world, please come and do it in my world. Okay? For the whole world. ומשום שדרכיו כך העלה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזה. So who determined that? Whose choice was it? Aaron. Aaron did it. He made God choose him. שיכניס שלום בפמליה של מעלה, כי על ידי העבודה שלו, by his work, הוא גורם זיווג קודשה באיחור שכינתה. He has the ability to connect the male and female in the upper worlds, the spiritual male and spiritual female, which means the spiritual aspect of the creation and the Creator together, so the world will be in harmony. Okay? That's bringing peace to the whole world. ומשום זה אמור אל הכהנים בני אהרון. Okay, what do we do with it? Which means, first of all, to understand that gives us amazing, powerful concept in the Torah, the Talmud, whatever, the Zohar, that says, התערותא דילתתא brings התערותא דלעילא. In order to bring something from above, you have to do something from below. Or in a very, very simple thing, God helps the people who help themselves. Everybody knows that expression. What does it mean? If you want God to help you, you have to do some actions on your side, so there is a vessel that the bliss can come into. God can send you a check of a lot of money, but you have to provide a mailbox, right? Or an address. If you don't provide an address, how can you ship to you the check? Is that clear? So everything that you read, you have to learn, you need to create an action from below, and then the bliss or whatever you need comes in from above. Does it remind you something? Here again with Aaron. He did the actions from below, and then the Creator gave the blessing to become a Kohen from above. So it's all about one thing. We have to understand, when it says that in the Talmud many, many times, it's explained that the relationship between us, creatures on earth, and the Creator is like a mother cow and a calf. Because it says more than a calf wants to get the milk, his mother wants to give the milk. Okay? But you could say the same thing about a Jewish mother and her son. You know, you never witnessed a Jewish mother crying that her son is not eating enough according to her perspective. He's dying. You look at the kid, there's no problem with him. No, he's dying, he's not eating enough, right? Why not saying it that the mother wants to feed the child more than a boy wants to eat? Everybody can understand that, right? If you live in a Jewish household, Italian household, there are many households in which the mother is sure that he is starving to death, and they feed, sometimes force feed the child. Okay, sometimes you bribe the child to eat. Okay? Why giving the example from the cow? Because the difference between a mother, a human mother and a child, and a cow and her calf, that you never see a cow running in the field after the calf to feed him, right? If he's hungry, he comes to suck. That's why the relationship between us and the Creator are more like the cow and her calf than a mother and her child. The calf has to come and to get the milk. He knows his mother is there. He knows there's milk over there. She wants to give, but she can't force it upon him. The same thing, a Jewish mother can force it upon the child. This is forbidden. Why? Because the same way God does not force us to be happy, you cannot force somebody to be happy. How many times a parent, a teacher, a friend, a spouse tries to force on you something they are sure that's going to make you happy, but it makes you miserable. It's not God's way. And that's why the example is about the cow and the calf. Okay? Now, which means you have to make the move and you have to be there to get the milk. Which means the steps. The moment you make the move and you make the steps, don't worry, God will feed you. It will come in. Okay? But why are you miserable? Maybe you simply, there's the joke about this guy that prayed for years, every day with cryings and with yelling, God, please make me win the lottery. Finally, all the angels, they couldn't stand it anymore. Please, God, make him win the lottery already. We can't stand his crying, and God says, but he never buys a ticket. Okay, that's the same story about the calf and the cow. You have to buy the ticket, which means that's exactly the story over here. Aaron, he's not the one that out of the blue God chose him to become the Kohen. He bought the ticket. He made the effort to become that person that finally, when the time came for somebody to become the Kohen, it was very obvious that nobody worked so hard to be on that position like Aaron. Okay? So whose choice was it? Not because Aaron was Moses' brother, but because Aaron was Aaron. Now, how is it connected to, again, about the holiness? Kohanim are holy. As we said, most of us are not Kohanim, so what that has to do with us? So the Zohar goes on, verse 3. Emor el HaKohanim bnei Aaron, and Rabbi Yehuda Patach. So Rabbi Yehuda opens over here. Marav tuvcha asher tzafanta lirecha. He is quoting from Psalms 31. How great is your bliss or goodness, asher tzafanta lirecha, that you hid for the ones who have your awe on them. Okay? Marav tuvcha. כמה הוא עליון ויקר הוא העליון ההוא שנקרא טוב. How precious, how divine is that light that is called good. What is that? As it says, in the beginning, what does it say? And God said, let there be light. Okay? And then it says, and God saw that the light was good. What do we learn from that? Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov. And this is called the treasured light. Okay? שבו עושה הקדוש ברוך הוא טוב בעולם. And whenever people experience goodness, this is an extension of that original light. As we said, when a person feels happiness, bliss, love, whatever you name it that people look for, this is not in the realm of logic and the physical senses. This is something out of the box. Where is it coming from? That is an extension of the original light that it says, and God said, let there be light. Okay? ואין מונע אותו בכל יום. And nobody can stop the flow of the light every day. The same way, nobody can stop the flow of the milk of the cow. Okay? ובו מתקיים העולם, and the whole world exists on that light. If that light stops for a second, the world stops from existing. So what about the treasured? אשר צפנת לירך, why is it hidden? כי למדנו. אור עליון עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא כשברא העולם. The creator made the divine light when he created the world. גנז אותו לצדיקים לעתיד לבוא. But he treasured it for the righteous people. זה שכתוב אשר צפנת, that's why it's treasured. פירוש, שני אורות. So we understand there are two lights. One הוא אור הגנוז לצדיקים לעתיד לבוא ואינו מאיר בעולם. One is a treasured light, only for the future to come and the world to come. And that light cannot be experienced meanwhile. Two, הוא אור הנקרא טוב, that light that is called good. הנמשך מן האור הגנוז, it's not the original light, but it is an extension of the original light. Whenever humans feel good, love, whatever, that's called that light, which is called good, טוב, שהעולם עומד עליו. But why did it have to be treasured? So here we go again to the same concept that we started a few weeks ago, that the Zohar repeats to come to it, to go back to it every time we study. And the Zohar explains again, the universe has been created in a perfect state already from the beginning. However, there was a problem. We were created also perfect. And the problem is, when you're perfect, you can't stand favors from anyone, even from the Creator. We couldn't stand the fact that we got everything for free. Why? Because the Creator is perfect and He needs no one. And the same thing about people. People, you know, you like it when people are nice to you, but when you become needy and you need their favors and you become dependent, it's never nice. This story never ends well, right? The moment you have a dependency, that story won't end nice. Why? Because we were created in the image of God, and we can't be dependent. We don't like it. Which means, there's a saying in the Middle East that says, I never helped him so much that he hates me so much. Which means, if you really want somebody to hate you with venom, just give him, share with him, love him unconditionally, and never give him the opportunity to give you in return. Sooner or later, that will become a story of hatred. Why? Because people can't stand free gifts. Free gifts, it's like a little here and there just for, you know, but when it becomes a lifestyle, this is destructive. Destructive. Why? We were created in the image of God. So we couldn't get all of this treasure light for free. We needed a space to create it on our own. So it's called the first Tzimtzum. We shut down that light. It's like we're saying to God, please God, thank you so much for what you've done to us, but let us shine. Let us shine. Give us the opportunity to create it on our own. Okay? The sages are saying it's like, you know, but when you want to shine in the presence of the Creator, that's kind of impossible. It's called a candle at noontime. Your light, relatively to the Creator's light, will be like lighting a candle at noontime when the sun is in the zenith, right? Well, what have you done? Nothing. Nothing, right? So, you know, God, can you please, like, you know, shut it down a little bit so we can shine on our own? And more than that, the moment we empty that light, the Kabbalists explain, the second stage was asking for it again. But there's a problem. When you want it and you ask for it, you become so much far away. Why? Because there's a rule that says similarities attract. Now, the Creator's light is endless and only in the sharing and the giving. When we are finite in the receiving side, you can't have two things more opposite than each other, right? How can you get in touch with the light when you are vibrating on another universe? You're not in the same frequency. That didn't happen. Therefore, there is a legend, a midrash, that says that the Creator in the beginning created the universe with judgment. And the universe every time will fall apart again and again, till there was no option but to recreate the universe with mercy. It's a code. When we woke up after the Tzimtzum, after contracting all the light, and we wanted the light all over again, there was no way we could get anything. That's called judgment. Judgment means there's no communication between just me, I want it, and the light giving it. It's like two opposite vibrations. They cannot talk to each other. So this universe could not live. So the universe has to be recreated all over again, and that's called the second Tzimtzum, Tzimtzum Bet, Tzimtzum 2. What do I mean Tzimtzum 2? The Creator had to kind of adjust us to take away a lot of our desire to receive and to put it together with the desire to share. That's called mercy. Mercy means that you want to receive, but at the same time you know also to share. And it's a built-in. It's a built-in system. It's called Tzimtzum Bet, System 2. So you have two systems in the universe, because same way, when Newton learned that in the universe there is a conservation of material and momentum, he said in his writing, he took all of it from the spiritual world, from the Zohar and from the Torah. All the rules of physics are in the rules of metaphysics. Okay? Now, because there's a conservation, that's why in this universe we have two kinds of vessels. Vessel 1, which means I want to receive and the heck with the rest of the world. Who cares? And there's a vessel 2, which means I want to receive, but on one condition, that other people get also. And then came another stage, which is called the breaking of the vessels, Shvirat HaKelim. And the two kind of vessels broke down into pieces and mixed together. So our world that we live in is a mixture of two kinds of vessels, vessel 1 and vessel 2. The soul of a human being is usually from vessel 2. Because if somebody has only the soul, he knows whenever you get, you have to give. Whenever you give, you have to get. That's a built-in system. Why? Because that's vessel 2. You know it, you don't have to be educated, nobody has to tell you, nobody has to teach you. When it's just the soul alone, that's why we cannot be just the soul alone. Why? No free will. The free will is when you come in a body, and the body, as we know, is mostly vessel 1. Right? What's the body consciousness? I want it now, and who cares about the others? But that is not so healthy. Why? Because the light of the Creator, all what is good, as we said, flows into vessel 1 and it explodes. Judgment. It flows into vessel 2, it stays. So in order to get a real continuous fulfillment, you need to vibrate on what level? Vessel 2. And that's why it says that the light that you can receive on vessel 1, which means I want it and I want it now and I receive it now, this light cannot be connected to, that's why it's treasured only to the world to come, when we finish the tikkun. Only when all of humanity fixes whatever we called is the body, consciousness, selfishness, whatever you call it, the dark side. Okay? This light is waiting for us, for the world to come. Meanwhile, you want to connect to bliss, you want to connect to life, you want to connect to success, you have to vibrate on the same level. That's what is called Tov. Okay? So when it says, you will be holy, and the Kohanim are holy, it's like to remind us, you want to be holy, step up to the plate. You have to step up to the plate. You have to understand that being holy is not about, when I have time and I retire, maybe then I'll be a holy person. Meanwhile, I have to make a living. What do you mean to be a maker? You have to be in this mess. And no, what the Torah is saying, there are no compromises about that. If you want to have a very successful business, a real successful business, not a false business, something that is lasting, a good business, you need to work in a holy way. My rabbi used to say, the word holy in English is terrible for that, because most people don't get it. You have to add a W in the beginning. Holy. WH. Because what is wholesome? that when you receive, you make sure you also give. When you take money, you also make sure that you give the worth of it as a service. You never take without making sure that you balance it. You never enjoy without having partners for that. You never, never, ever focus on your own self-indulgence because you know that this is not wholesome. This is only one-sided. And that's why instant and immediate self-gratification always go high and by. Like getting drunk. You're upset. You know, you see all of these like movies, it's a brainwash. You see the movie, the hero, he had a bad day in office, he comes home, he pours himself a whole cup of, what is that? What, you have a problem, fix it. So you drink the vodka, or whatever alcohol, you drink it. It gives you an illusion of connecting to the good. You feel good. And then what happens? You feel terrible. It's like falling in love. Same thing, you're falling with the booze. It starts with high, and then the headache of the morning after. It starts with high, and then finish with a cry. Isn't that the way it is? Same thing with drugs, same thing with all of this instant and gratification that our culture is built upon it. Now, do you wonder why people are so miserable? You never have real fulfillment, because real fulfillment is only when you become holy. Only when you remember that if you want to be happy. System 2 says, you want to be happy, you have to make sure that other people are happy. You want to be successful, you have to make sure that other people enjoy that success. Being at service is not just a nice thing. Being at service is a life mission because you want to be happy, that's what it means. You're not doing anybody a service when you're at service. You're doing, first of all, a service to yourself because you want to go on the wavelength of happiness, success. You have to be holy. So that's why research is showing, whoever worked in a big business, that stage that they bring an advisor in and he says, no, we need to have a goal, a mission, values, like these companies that go to this stage. So they go through these workshops and they're so excited about it, and then they put it in writing and then make out of it on the internet, in the lobby for the company and everywhere. But then you get that the bottom line is how much money you bring into the company right now. Who cares about the service? Then you realize it was fake. It's just a promotional act. So science is showing that businesses that really live their mission, they make much more money. How could it be? Logic says if you're focusing on making money and you take more money than service, you're going to be richer much faster. That's logic. Science says that if you really give a service, on the long run, you make much more money. This is illogical. It's illogical, right? It's illogical. But didn't we say that God is outside of the box of our logic? That's a proof. That people who go by only logic, they're pretty dry. Pretty dry. When somebody wants real love, where would he go? To happy, loving people? Or to a professor in the university that made a research and he got his PhD in love? What do you think? Your brain will tell you, no, it's very nice to go and learn a course in the university about love, but your heart tells you, learning about love is living with happy people. And sometimes they have a degree, sometimes they don't have a degree, right? That it's not, there's no, sometimes the more you learn about it, the more you don't know how to do it. For instance, if you talk about psychologists, okay? How many psychologists do you know that they have amazing relationships in their family. Right? This is kind of an oxymoron. Why does it sound like a joke? Maybe if you learn too much in the books, you don't really know how to do it. The same thing like learning from a book how to be a mother. And then a whole generation has to learn how not to do what your mother did to you, because that was horrible. Because, you know, the doctor who wrote it, he messed it up. He said the opposite. How? Because he was a doctor. He didn't live it. He wrote about it. Okay, that's a problem. Academy not always have, you know, they say they're not for sure, you know, that's why they say, you know, the scientists, they live in their towers of ivory, you know, ivory towers. It's like, you know, come down from the tower. So here we talk about, again, it's very simple. The whole period of the counting of Omer is about us learning to be holy. It's not that some of us will be holy. The Torah says all of you are going to be holy. Now you have a choice. Are you going to step up to the plate now? And when you become holy, you feel the wholesome of life. And you feel it in your business. And you feel it in your family. And you feel it in your body. Either you do that and you feel the good because you start to vibrate in the right grid, the right formation. Or you'll have to go through all kinds of trials and tribulations. Rav Ashla calls it back-wheel drive. You know why back-wheel drives? When life is very hard on you and you have troubles, you start running. Why it's called back-wheel drive? Because you're running away from the trouble, right? So it's a back-wheel drive. You have like, you know, back engine, okay? Rear engine drive. Rear engine, I messed it somehow. Or you have like you have an engine from the back. That's because you're being pushed and you run away. While if you do it by studying the Torah and the Zohar and you realize that these values, maybe they're outside of the box. Maybe it's hard to get. Maybe your brain tells you, why should I give a great service? It costs me more. The customer asked me for that service, and you know what? I can trick him. Nobody will know. I can give him, but this is to cheat. What in do not steal you didn't understand? Okay? But nobody saw. Why the Creator will punish me, I don't believe it. And it's very simple. When you behave in this unholy way, do you want to connect to the grid of the pure system, the holy system, where life flows, which is called the tree of life? You cannot. So there's no bracha, there's no bliss in your food, not in your housing, not in what you buy, not what you sell, not what you say, not what that's all the last weeks. Because you're on the wrong network. You're on the wrong network. Similarities attract. You're on the network in which things are, you know, when you're driving in a traffic jam, push the gas, push the brakes, push the gas, push the brakes, right? It's like, and you start feeling you're in hell, because that's how hell feels like. You know, push the gas, then comes the brake. Why? High and by, high and by. You get some fulfillment and then it blocks you. Why? Because it's a system that has a self-destructive mechanism. This is the ailment of our generation. Because when you don't really live those values, you think you're doing somebody a favor when you help them. No, you help yourself. And Rav Ashlag is saying, this is the problem with our generation. It says this is the problem, even the Soviet Union. They declared, it's all about love others as you love yourself. Everybody will pitch in exactly what they can, and you'll take exactly what you need, not more. And we'll be so happy. We'll be a big, happy family. Yeah? I don't know exactly the numbers, but they say that more people were killed because of communism than because of Nazism. People don't talk about it that much. Why? It's not nice. There's so many people that, they love socialism, and they won't talk about the results. Forcing people to share with each other, without them, says Rav Ashlag, without them understanding it's a godly thing, and you do it in order to connect to God, is against human nature. And that's why in the early 30s, Rav Ashlag said, because it's against human nature, Russia and all its allies are going to fall apart because they won't have what to eat. And that's exactly what happened 60 years later. Why? It's against human nature, logically, to work hard for somebody else and getting the same reward. What are you talking? It's against nature. Nature will kick back. And that's what happened. Droughts, people didn't work. And the result was the economy collapsed. And people said, "Wait, we don't want you anymore." And it's gone. It's against human nature. But if you teach a person to connect to outside of the box, that you care for people not because you want them to be nice to you, but you care for people because that's a way to connect onto the grid. And then you get your reward because the satisfaction you're getting is because you feel a better person. You feel more holy. You feel more elevated. That's about Aaron. He elevated himself to that place. He was chosen by God. He didn't just sit and said, "Oh God, that would be nice if I'll be the high priest. My brother Moses will be the king. Oh, and the garments of the high priest, that will look so nice on me." That was not what Aaron was about. He was about, I want to get closer to God, and the only way to get closer to God is being godly. Is to bring the peace from above to in the simple life between neighbors, husband and wife, parents and children. He did that. He brought physically peace to earth. The result was, he basically elevated himself to a place in which God chose him to become his chosen one. That's the message of this parashot. You want to be chosen, you have to work for it. You have to lift yourself up. Don't wait for others to lift you up. When you help other people, don't wait for them to say thank you. Because it says, we read it last week, love others as you love yourself. I am God. Leviticus 18:19. What's the I am God? Because what is most people doing? You love others as you love yourself, because you want others to love you as you love yourself. I have some news for you. It doesn't work. Sometimes it does, most of the times it does not. So Rav Ashlag is saying the moment you love others and you wait for their reaction, you develop a dependency. That's wrong. What in you shall not have another God upon me you didn't get. Because the moment you wait for another person to make you happy, you made yourself another God. So sooner or later, that you'll get a hit in the face, or in the belly, or wherever, or in the heart, and you go on, they failed me, they disappointed me. That's what people do. People usually do not respond the way you expect them. And usually, you heard about Murphy's laws? When you are on the wrong grid, Murphy is the boss over there. What does it say? If there is an option that something will go wrong, for sure it will go wrong. If there are 4 options, how wrong can it go? The worst is the highest chances. Okay? When is that? When you choose system 1. It's called the impure system. When you're expecting other people to make you happy. It's not their job. Did you write a contract with them? That, Every day you're going to make me happy. If you're not making me happy, you should give me some compensation. You should compensate me with money. Do you have an agreement with any person about like this? No, people don't sign agreements like this. Nobody owes us anything. In the moment we wake up like this in the morning, do you know how free you become? Nobody owes me anything. Nobody's supposed to be nice to me. No one. And they have their own problems. So what should I do? I should be nice to them because that's my way to tap into the grid of the tree of life. That's it. And that's why it says, you should love others as you love yourself. I am God. That's how you connect to God, not to other people. So sometimes people will be really nice to you because you help them. And then, you know what? Surprise! I didn't expect it. That's very nice of you. I didn't expect, but it's okay. I'm very happy that you're happy. I'm very happy and excited that you can love me. But, you don't owe me anything. When you walk around this way, you're free. You are free. Isn't the whole thing about the counting of the Omer is to learn to be free? Is to learn to be a grown-up? That's the whole thing. Because the real freedom is that nobody is supposed to make you happy. Nobody is going to make you happy. And you have no expectation for other people to be happy because your happiness is not dependent on anyone. But you bring yourself to a place of happiness. Unconditional happiness. And that is conditioned only on one thing. Your own personal actions that connect you to the light of God. And that's it. Isn't that refreshing? When humanity reaches that place, we are going to experience a real communism. Everybody's going to give as much as they can because they're excited about doing it. And everybody's going to take only as much as they need. But first we have to really become spiritual, said Rabbi Ashlag. Non-spiritual people cannot live communism. That will be destructive. And history tells us it was true. Thank you all and have a great week. Toda Rabba.